Two interviews that really stuck out?
Um,
Like you
yes,
interviewed the
actually.
superintendent of Palm Beach County, maybe, or something. I don't know, or Broward.
Well, nothing that big, but I remember talking to this girl in my class named Chelsea. It's funny I remember the names, but she was handicapped, and she was just very honest with me. She was like, I go through this and I go through that. Other students sometimes look at me, or I just feel different. And she got very honest with me about her story. She didn't have to do that. I don't know why she felt so comfortable with me, but I wrote it in a way
I get
that,
that vibe. You definitely
yeah.
have that kind of a vibe.
Oh, all right. Well, I still got it then. But yeah, I wrote her story, and I don't think I actually know she really enjoyed it, and she's like, "Thank you," and you wrote it
Was,
in a way
was that
that was.
impactful for her experience post story on how people maybe was a little bit more sympathetic to her situation?
Yeah, and if she's like, "Oh, you understood it," and other people actually read it, and they started
That's I
talking
mean
to her
that's
more
quite
about it.
touching. You really
Yeah,
impacted some change.
yeah, it is, and I just felt like once again it was the start of something before I even
Right.
went to
I mean that
college.
that would be moving, right? As a
Yeah,
young
definitely.
writer to actually see something happen because of something they wrote, not necessarily that you made a dollar or anything like this, but you actually probably changed somebody's life. And on top of that, you probably changed other people's lives because maybe they got them to be a little bit more.
Yeah, it actually started when I was in school. Like usually when we're good at something, we might hear it from our parents or something like that. But I clearly remember I was in eighth grade, and I had a teacher. Her name was Miss Seidler, and she was like, "Oh, when it comes to writing essays, you're actually pretty good at this." So that was like the first time someone told me I was good at something other than, like my mom or my dad, and that actually kind of meant something to me. You know what I mean?
100%. The last guest
Yeah.
said they actually thought I did pretty good at the podcast, and of course, my wife thinks I'm wonderful. And unfortunately, I have to understand that she definitely has a major bias, which I'm sure your parents had towards you and your writing. At least you knew that they had a bias, so they said that you were good, and you're like, oh, okay, that's just mom and dad say I'm good. Of course, they're going to tell me I'm good. But when
Yeah.
this teacher said that you were good, that is like a whole change your world, right?
Yeah, and then I feel like that
Not
was
to
the
make
first
light of
time.
mom and dad, they love you. They
Yeah.
want the best for you. Yeah, you get this third party that you have, and this teacher was an expert
Yeah,
to
in her
judge,
field.
to make this judgment and critical announcement to you.
Yeah, so I felt like it actually meant more to me. Not to take anything away from them. They supported me in everything. But just hearing it from someone else, that extra voice saying you can do something, it's like a coach. It just pushes you to say you're a little bit better.
How do you determine if you think a story is newsworthy?
Well, honestly, it's the simple pitch. Like I've gotten so many emails, so many recommendations, and I always say everything is newsworthy depending on how you sell it and how you tell it. So if you tell me you're an
Wow,
entrepreneur,
that's interesting.
right? And so if you're an entrepreneur and you're like, yeah, I'm just an entrepreneur and I have like this little thing, if you're not confident in what you're saying, I just can't take your word for it. I can't write much. And I remember one time there was an artist and he was like, yeah, write about me. And he wasn't willing to tell me his name, where he went to school. It's like he just completely shut off. So I'm like, if you're not willing to open up, how can I open up your story for you? So I feel like just people who are very open, very vibrant with what they're saying, and they actually believe in themselves will get you a long way, and even to the newsroom. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think of it too like a box of Wheaties. Like no one's eating Wheaties because the cereal is just it tastes so good. They're eating it because they're selling you the story of the athlete on the cover that you're reading about. So that's another way to think about it too.
Oh, I like that. I like
Okay.
that. It's like a Wheaties box. Yeah,
Yeah.
because who would eat that Wheaties? Because actually, I don't know how you feel about it. I never did like Wheaties,
Yeah. No, I never liked it, but I always liked
but
the
you wanted the
story.
box
Yeah.
because it had that athlete, that star on it that you admired, and a little bit about them.
Someone reached out to me. They were like, I see you're with Sun-Sentinel. Why they reached out to me, I don't know. But this was a West Palm story. He's like, I made seven figures in 7 months. And I'm like, oh, wow. That
That
has
is
my
definitely
attention.
newsworthy, and that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm like, even if I weren't a journalist, please tell me more.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I sell sea moss out of my backyard in West Palm and things like that. And I made seven figures in 7 months. And apparently he lost like 300 pounds selling sea moss out of his backyard and just getting healthier. So I'm like, okay, this is actually a great story.
Really good. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Sun-Sentinel. And then one day I was watching TV and he showed up on Shark Tank. And I was like, that's the guy I wrote about. That's the guy I wrote about for Sun-Sentinel. And I couldn't believe it. He made a deal with Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart on the show. And I sent him a text like, hey, do you remember me? I'm the guy who wrote about you. And he's like, yeah, but you actually helped me get my story out there. And like, he literally said, like, you gave me confidence. So like, if I gave you confidence to actually go on TV, that was like it touched my heart, seriously.
Wow. That's amazing. Today's guest is a journalist and storyteller who brings South Florida culture, arts, and entertainment to life. He's written for the Fort Lauderdale Magazine, SFL Style, Cinefellas, the Sun-Sentinel, and more. He's interviewed filmmakers, covered major events like Halloween Horror Nights, and even been recognized by Voyage MIA and Shout Out Miami for his inspiring contributions in the media world. He's not just a journalist. He's a podcaster, blogger, film critic, and true lover of pop culture, who's always seeking to understand people and the world around him. Please welcome to the podcast, Vibe Your Vibe, Nile Fortner. And I'm your host, Kirk Francis. Mm-hmm. Hey, nice to have you here today, Nile.
No, that was an amazing introduction. Like, when you were reading it, it made me smile.
That's awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. My team helped put that together. I can't take full credit.
Well, your team does an amazing job. I just met Julie, and shout out to her, too.
Yes. She's amazing. I couldn't do all this without her and Hassan and Moshian and Kaif, and see if I can name everybody. I know I'm missing somebody. Romeo, Ernie Marr. I know I'm missing somebody. I'm sorry if I missed you. We got a pretty large team to keep everything moving and going forward, and just really couldn't do it without all of them. So yeah, I do appreciate you recognizing that.
I feel like you're like Nick Fury. You're like assembling the Avengers, but for podcasting.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, right? So yeah. That's the plan. And my last guest actually told me, she goes, this is a service that people quite need. And I'm like, that's great. I hope they get the message.
Yeah.
So this really isn't about me, though. This is about you. I really want to talk about, because we're both from South Florida, right? I really want to dive in to this career that you've had, that, you know, you've had this interesting journalistic journey, right? So you're old enough. I don't think you're that old, but you're old enough to have participated in like print journalism, right? Actual print journalism. And
yeah.
I'm just curious, like what drove you to get interested in journalism and writing? Because is that where you got your chops initially? Was just actually writing?
Yeah, it actually started when I was in school. Like, usually when, you know, we're good at something, we might hear it from our parents or something like that. But I clearly remember I was in 8th grade and I had a teacher. Her name was Miss Seidler. And she was like, oh, you know, when it comes to writing essays, you're actually pretty good at this. So that was like the first time someone told me I was good at something other than, you know, like my mom or my dad. And it actually kind of meant something to me. You know what I mean?
100%. The last guest said they actually thought I did pretty good at the podcast. And of course, my wife thinks I'm wonderful. And, you know, unfortunately, I have to understand that she definitely has a major bias, which I'm sure your parents had towards you and your writing. At least you knew that they had a bias. So, you know, they said that you were good, and you're like, oh, okay, that's just mom and dad saying I'm good. Of course they're going to tell me I'm good. But when this teacher said that you were good, that is like a whole change your world, right?
Yeah, and then I feel like that was
not to make light of mom and dad. They love you. And they want the best for you. Yeah, you get this third party that you have, you know, and this teacher was an expert to judge, to make this judgment and critical announcement to you.
Yeah, so I felt like it actually meant more to me. You know, not to take anything away from them. They supported me in everything. But just hearing it from someone else, that extra voice saying you can do something, it's like a coach. You know, it just pushes you to say you're a little bit better.
Right. Or see that you could be better, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That you can strive a little harder next time on that next writing piece. So when was this? Was this in junior or high school?
Oh boy, this was 8th grade. So
junior High
Yeah.
school. Wow. So early on, like
Yeah.
when you, I
And
mean, because I don't know, I don't quite remember, but I don't think we really wrote a whole lot of essays or whatnot in elementary school up to maybe fifth or sixth grade. There wasn't, at least when I went to school, there wasn't a lot of writing. That started more in like the middle school years.
yeah, same for me too. Like around sixth grade, they're like, yeah, you got to learn how to write a basic essay, at least 2 pages.
Right. So you just started and you just, I guess, just had a natural knack for the language.
Yeah, and then honestly, I just started like working my craft because they recommended I write for the school blog at the time. And then it kind of was just like, okay, if I'm writing for the school blog and then I'm kind of doing this for a few years, and then eventually I was like starting to freelance with other publications, I'm like, there might be something here that I can actually do with it. And then I
Right.
always thought to myself, like, okay, if I'm good enough for this one publication, what happens if I go simply across the street to another one, or contact this one? And then it just started becoming just one after the other, and
So what's
I
your
was building a
process
resume.
like for the junior high and high school? Did you like go and interview people, or did you just show up to events and just document the event from your perspective, or can you share a little bit about that process and what you did for the school blog?
Yeah, so I was
I
writing
mean, I know
about
this a long
like
time ago, but it's interesting.
yeah, it's like going down memory lane, but I love it. Yeah, so for like the school blog, I was just like covering like local events that the school was having, or even something as simple as this is the student of the week. Let's interview them and just put it up
So you did
there.
get to do interviews.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So is there maybe a one or two interviews that really stuck out?
Um,
Like you
yes,
interviewed the
actually.
superintendent of Palm Beach County, maybe, or something. I don't know, or Broward.
Well, nothing that big, but I remember talking to this girl in my class named Chelsea. It's funny I remember the names, but she was handicapped, and she was just very honest with me. She was like, I go through this and I go through that. Other students sometimes look at me, or I just feel different. And she got very honest with me about her story. She didn't have to do that. I don't know why she felt so comfortable with me, but I wrote it in a way
I get
that,
that vibe. You definitely
yeah.
have that kind of a vibe.
Oh, all right. Well, I still got it then. But yeah, I wrote her story, and I don't think I actually know she really enjoyed it, and she's like, "Thank you," and he wrote it in a way
Was
that
that
was,
impactful for her experience post story on how people maybe was a little bit more sympathetic to her situation?
yeah. And if she's like, "Oh, you understood it," and other people actually read it, and they started
That's, I
talking
mean,
to her
that's
more
quite
about it.
touching. You really
Yeah,
impacted some change.
yeah, it is, and I just felt like once again it was the start of something before I even
Right.
went to
I mean,
college.
that would be moving, right? As a
Yeah,
young
definitely.
writer to actually see something happen because of something they wrote, not necessarily that you made a dollar or anything like this, but you actually probably changed somebody's life. And on top of that, you probably changed other people's lives because maybe they got them to be a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, understanding of people's
Yeah,
plights. Maybe
understanding,
they're
compassionate. Yeah.
walking a few steps in somebody else's shoes and understanding what they're going through.
Right, exactly. And this was way before like I was even thinking about money or things like that. So I was kind of like, okay,
Wow.
this is kind of cool.
I bet. I mean,
Yeah.
you're quite a youngster getting started. So what did you where did you go after high school? Did you get formally trained in university? I don't have that in my notes, but um, did you get a journalism degree?
I
I
did. Yeah,
see
I went
Florida
to,
Atlantic
yeah,
multimedia journalism. Okay, I see it now.
yeah, go Owls. Yeah.
Go
But I
Owls.
went,
My
I went to
daughter
Broward
attended
College.
for a while. She hasn't graduated yet. I'm not sure what she's doing, but um,
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
she took a few years there at FAU. It's a nice campus.
Oh, it's beautiful, and it's gotten better over the years.
Yeah. So did you get to work with the school newspaper there at the FAU?
You know, it's funny. I actually went to Broward College, and then I transferred to FAU. But when I got to FAU, I wanted to write for the school newspaper, and I was actually already when I was at FAU, I was already freelancing with some publications like the Sun-Sentinel or SFL Style, the Cinefellas, things like that. But there was someone at the school paper who was like, we don't really care for your writing style. And that was okay. So I was like, okay, I kind of made it this far, but one person kind of felt a certain way, and that's absolutely fine. But I
Everybody's
remember,
entitled to their opinion, right?
yeah, of course, but I do remember writing, I did 2 pieces for them, But, not to like bash the newspaper or anything, I was like, well, if you don't like me, that's okay, because I have other people who at the time were actually even paying me a little bit to do
Right. They're
something
even
for
they're
them.
actually like it so well they're paying me.
Yeah, exactly. But I was kind of just really going to back up what I was doing, like, to say, hey, I have the paperwork, the documents to say I can actually do this.
Right. That's so cool. So how did you get to write for the Sun-Sentinel? You just reached out to them and say, here's some samples and I want to do this?
I know this is going to make me sound like a dinosaur, but remember when you would look through the paper, they had the contact section.
Right.
I just literally, they had the editor, Carrie Barnett. She's like, yeah, if you want to talk about community news, just send me an email. I sent her an email. She asked for some samples, and she was like, yeah, you can do some stories for us.
Wow. Nice. So it's community news.
Yeah, because it was very much like we were talking about everything from West Palm to Fort Lauderdale, pretty much.
Okay. Interesting. Any special news stories there? I guess you probably did. What was that movie? Marley and Me. Did that kind of maybe resonate a bit with you?
Yeah, it did. Because
Because
they
I guess that's
filmed
kind of
it.
what he wrote about, right? Kind of community stories.
Yeah, and they actually filmed that in the actual Sun-Sentinel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I was old school. I remember going to like the Sun Sentinel office, and they were like, "Yeah, you're in the paper," and I would actually like get that physical paper, and then I would call people like, "Yeah, you're in the paper. I can drop it off to you," and just seeing that reaction people had when they're actually in print, like it's priceless. Like when you send
Right.
somebody a link, it's like, okay, that's nice, but when they actually are holding it and even like
Yeah. It's
smelling
kind
that
of
old
it's kind of
newspaper.
sad that it's gone almost all digital now, hasn't it?
Honestly, I remember I used to write for so many, and now it's like maybe two physical ones.
Only two physical printed papers. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just something about holding it in your hand, right?
Right, and it just I feel like it means more because it's like you're literally a part of something. You're literally touching it.
Right. I can definitely identify with that. This makes it more real. So, I just had a question. Now I lost it. So what I guess gives you the inspiration on what to write about when you're writing a story?
Well, I'm very much about people. So once again, just being like an old school guy, there have been times where people just talk to me at a restaurant or at a bar or something. They're like, "Yeah, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I have as a business," and just I think hearing people out like is what resonates with me mostly. So I'm very big into people stories, whether they're an artist, an entrepreneur, they have a local restaurant, any kind of business really. I feel the need to like showcase that because how many times can we write about like the big grand things that we have all the time, but those small mom and pop shops or that entrepreneur looking to just start something up, I feel like those mean more, and that's what resonates with people. They're like everyday people. I call it the Rocky Balboa formula. Like everybody cheers on Rocky Balboa because it's like he's
He's the
fighting.
underdog.
He's the underdog and he's fighting for his community. It's like everything like that.
Yeah. So I guess the next question I had, and this was actually the question that came to me finally. How do you determine if you think a story is newsworthy?
Well, honestly, it's the simple pitch. Like I've gotten so many emails, so many recommendations, and I always say everything is newsworthy depending on how you sell it and how you tell it. So if you tell me you're an
Wow,
entrepreneur,
that's interesting.
right? And so if you're an entrepreneur and you're like, yeah, I'm just an entrepreneur and I have like this little thing, if you're not confident in what you're saying, I just can't take your word for it. I can't write much. And I remember one time there was an artist and he was like, yeah, write about me. And he wasn't willing to tell me his name, where he went to school. It's like he just completely shut off. So I'm like, if you're not willing to open up, how can I open up your story for you? So I feel like just people who are very open, very vibrant with what they're saying, and they actually believe in themselves will get you a long way, and even to the newsroom.
Right. So you get a story, and so what I hear you saying is that whoever's maybe approaching you would like them to write a story. I guess they kind of have to sell you on it, right?
Of course,
And
yeah,
then once you're sold on it and you write it, you actually have to go then to Sun Sentinel and sell it to them to
exactly, yeah.
explain to
So it's
them,
like,
hey, this is why people need to hear about this.
yeah, I tell people I'm literally the middleman. So if I'm the middleman, I'm like the carrier pigeon. I'm telling Sun Sentinel or the New Pelican newspaper or Fort Lauderdale magazine, like, hey, you need to be aware of this guy, and this is why.
Yeah, he's moving and shaking. Let's
Yeah.
follow him. You're catching him when he's just getting started. This is
Yeah.
the future Prince.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a lot of stories like that, and
Because
it's
you're
funny.
big into the music too, scene, right?
Yeah. I've covered like concerts and things like that. Yeah.
So is that primarily just in South Florida, or have you actually had an opportunity to cover that in other parts of the world?
Oh, just South Florida for now, but man, that would be so cool to go outside of South Florida to do those things.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm looking up now. I
Yeah,
got
I'm
to
very
share
much a
it. I got to
community
know
guy.
if you've heard of this. So I'm looking up my son-in-law. Um, you wouldn't know his name, but you might know who he used to do photos for the Ruby Hornet. Have you
I
heard
know
of
that
that?
name. Yeah.
In Chicago, I think is where it's based.
Yeah, my dad used to work in Chicago. Yeah, so he was
The Ruby
informing me of
Hornet, I
all this
think, was
stuff.
about the music scene, I guess, in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's rubbed elbows with basically every major artist you can think out there. It's amazing.
I love stories like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and his brother's now down in Miami, and I don't know what they're doing with it, but yeah, they did that for quite some time, and
That's
now
amazing.
they both work in social media now.
Okay.
I don't think I don't know if he's still working with it or if it's gotten kind of taken over or morphed into something different. But yeah, he's one of the founders of
That's a that,
Ruby
that's so
Hornet.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you might
And
appreciate that. I unfortunately he told me that and was like, I don't know about it. Sorry.
oh,
And I'm from St. Louis, and but he's younger than me, so I just maybe missed it. So tell me about the Cinefellas. That sounds actually quite interesting.
oh boy,
Is that about cinema?
it is, and it's funny. It's
Do you
like
know
going
those
down
two
memory lane.
brothers that work in Miami that do independent films?
No, I don't. Which
Those
ones?
two brothers. Oh, jeez. I can't think of their names right now. I'm just gone blank. Dang it. I hate it when that happens. Um, I'll think of it in a minute. There's two brothers. They're younger, and they do like independent films, and they basically film them mostly in Miami.
Wow. Okay, I got
So
to check that out. I'm gonna
yeah,
Google it.
I'll have to get the name. Once I remember the name, I'll definitely send it to you.
Yeah,
So
please do.
so Cinefellas, is it primarily about Miami films or?
Well, it started out as just like local films, and then it grew. Like it just grew out of nowhere. But I remember one time I went to a flea market and I was looking through like DVDs and Blu-rays. They were even selling movie posters, and I met these two guys, and he's like, "Oh, you need to contact Cinefellas," and I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Yeah, they talk about movies and things like that," and it was just insane. Like it started out like just talking about local movies, reviewing movies, just local actors, and
Oh
we
yeah,
started
you
getting
ready to
people.
cry?
Yeah,
I had original one sheets and two sheets of Do the Right Thing,
really, wow, that's so
and
cool.
unfortunately they got wiped out in a attic situation with termites and rats.
Oh man,
They were sitting
oh,
up in the attic. I know. I mean, I was ready to cry because I worked for a company out in L.A. that was helping promote that movie when it came out, and I I I used to put those posters up in the cities downtown
wow,
in St. Louis and in Kansas City. Yes, that was
yeah,
me, but that's been a long time ago, so you can't come after me now. But anyway,
okay,
that was another
yeah,
life.
yeah. I actually have that movie on Blu-ray. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie, and definitely drew a lot of interesting reactions, I should say. So, yeah.
Yeah. But going back to like Cinefellas, yeah, we just were like talking about movies. We actually had a podcast where we were interviewing actors and just it was on YouTube.
Was it any actors or just Miami actors?
Well, it started out locally and then it just grew into
Just
more
grew.
actors. Yeah, like we had people from Chicago, LA reaching out saying they want to be on the podcast, things like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, and
That's
then it
awesome.
just yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this like the actress from Insidious. I'm not sure if you've seen those movies, the horror movies.
No, I'm not. That's actually one genre I'm not really interested in. It
Oh,
messes
okay.
with my sleep. I don't know about
Well,
it.
it messes with my sleep too. But when I saw the name, I'm like, yeah, time to pick up this person. Someone they were like somebody from the Insidious franchise, one of the main actresses. You're gonna interview her, and they're like, you have 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like the Cinefellas thing is actually starting to take off now. So it just started out with just honestly, a
Was
couple
it
of
remote
nerds.
or was it in person?
It was actually remote because just of the time zone difference, but it was still a cool opportunity. And like it just started out as a bunch of nerds talking about movies, and it just grew into this massive thing.
And you're still part of it today?
We still talk movies, and the last another horror movie we talked about Sinners, so that was pretty cool. But we're
Okay.
still on it.
Still
Mhm.
on it. That's cool. So is it kind of like when you're talking to actors about movies, I guess it's more when that movie's getting released and they're doing like the promo, you know, pre-release
Yeah,
or post-release and doing the promo. So is it kind of like what was that movie? Notting Hill
yeah, I
with
know that movie.
Hugh Grant, and he
Hmm.
goes and he's acting like I guess a writer for what was that, Horse and Hound. So is it sort of like that?
It actually kind of is. It is, and one of the Cinefellas, his name is Logan. He met Pierce Bronson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So
So
it's
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 like
all levels of actors and actresses.
now it is. Yeah, it
Wow.
was really just
Well, I have
combined.
one actress that has committed to being on my show. It's Wendy Regalado. So I'm kind of
Oh,
excited about that when she gets back into town. So
yeah. And one thing I would
now
recommend.
I got her committed. Hopefully, I mentioned her name in my podcast.
Well, I feel like you have to now. But one of my favorite interview questions is, "Who's your favorite person on the movie set? Can you do an impersonation of them?" And they will actually try to do it, and it kind of makes them smile a little bit.
Oh, that's a cool question to have.
Yeah, just something a
Yeah.
little fun to throw in there.
So what's been some of the ones that you remember that they've tried to impersonate?
One of them had like a very hard British accent. They were like, "Yeah, he's American in the movie, but he's actually so British and whatnot." And they said he was from Manchester. And when they did their over the top British accent, I just remember cracking up. It was honestly, it sounded like a garbage disposal with a British accent. It was really bad the way they were doing it, but her co-star, who actually had the accent, thought it was funny too because he was sitting right next to her.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, it's amazing how a lot of these actors and actresses they can just turn that on and off, right? It
Yeah,
surprised me some of the British actors that have roles and then they do an interview and you're expecting them to have an American accent and they don't. You're like, "Oh, wait a minute." It's amazing how they're able to do that.
yeah. And one
Cuz
of
I
the
don't think
actors
I
they
could do the
actually
reverse. It would be
no,
horrible.
I could never do it. But there were so many fun stories with Cinefellas, man. I feel like I could go on and on about it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So it's a podcast. Is it also a like a blog or magazine as
Yeah,
well?
we have a website. We're on YouTube, Twitter. Back when Twitter was like really blowing up, and and Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So the other magazines you've mentioned here I got is Fort Lauderdale Magazine and Boca Watch and South Florida Style and South Florida Magazine and My Florida Today. Are those mostly like your work stories, kind of like what you did with Sam, those features, or are those is that something maybe different?
Well, those are all features because that's kind of what I'm known for. And
Okay.
funny, you
Can
mentioned
you maybe
Boca
explain to my
Watch.
audience what a feature actually means? Because some of them may not
Yeah.
understand what that is.
Yeah, so a feature goes more in depth. That's what it is. So instead of just like here's a traditional article, maybe one page, it might be 2 pages. It might have more backstory. So it's really more like a feature, like almost like a movie. Like it really goes more in depth with everything. So that's why, a very good question actually.
So think of it as a story might be maybe like a resume, which is kind of a shorted form, and the feature might be more like either a vita or maybe a biography,
Right,
where it
exactly.
gets more in depth.
Yeah, it covers more ground about the business, the entrepreneur, artist, whatever it may
What
be.
got them started? Why, maybe a little bit more about their why. Why are they doing it?
Yeah, their spouse. Sometimes I've done
And
that.
that's your forte.
Right, because I think of it like a circle. You want to have everything come back around.
That's interesting. So if you're looking for a feature, Nile is your man.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I would say
So
so at this point.
I mean, it's so one of the questions I like to ask people on my show, and I kind of tried doing it on the slide, but I'm tired of doing that. So I'm just going to just tell you flat out what I'm looking for. So because ChatGPT and Grok, because you mentioned Twitter and Gemini are so much part of our life, Perplexity, these large language models. If someone was on there asking questions and the answer to that question would be Nile Fortner, feature writer, what would some of those questions actually be?
So if someone were to ask ChatGPT some of those questions,
A question, and ChatGPT would reply back and say, "Oh, you need to contact Nile Fortner, feature writer."
well, if ChatGPT had some questions, I think they would say, or they would ask, how long has Nile been doing this, for one? That would be a very good question. And I guarantee you, ChatGPT wouldn't give you the answer I gave you, though.
So what's the answer to that?
They're going to probably say 2009. I told you 2008.
Oh, okay. So you started in
You know why?
2008. Okay. But I guess what I'm saying is, I'm a small business and I need a feature article. But as a small business, they might not even know what a feature article is. They may not understand what the impact of what a feature article is. So that's kind of what I'm driving at is, what is that question that they're asking that's going to answer with, oh, sounds to me like you really ought to have a feature article written, and here's somebody that you could reach out that could make that happen for you.
Good question. That's a very good question. How are you marketing yourself? And a lot of people, surprisingly, don't know how to answer that.
Okay. And so it would be kind of like,
that,
hey, I need more business. I need to market myself. How are some of the ways I can do that? And they might come back with, pay per click, social media content. So it'd be kind of like them saying, well, yeah, I'm looking for something a little different than pay per click or social media content. That answer might come back as, well, maybe a feature article that's been written by somebody local that has some local connection to some of the local magazines. And then at the end of the day, it creates some, and so part of, I guess, the question would be, do I need SEO? And so that also maybe could be something too, right?
That's a very good question you asked, though. I'm still thinking about it. But honestly, when people say things like, why do I need a feature article? I could just like pay Facebook or Instagram to boost the post. I have weird answers, but I call it the Home Alone 2 method. You're just pretty much Kevin McAllister dropped off in the middle of New York with all these people, but you're not contacting the right people. So let's say you're in Delray Beach. If you're in Delray Beach and someone drops you off in the middle of New York, you're a fish out of water pretty much. You're not where you belong, especially if you have a business in Delray Beach. But if you're in Delray Beach and you can contact or reach people within West Palm, Boca Raton, things like that, you have a better chance of gravitating the right people to come to your business. So that's how I kind of explain the boosting the post and the paying for followers and all of those things.
Okay. I'll give you my answer. My answer is, in today's world, people pretty much do all of their decision making and shopping and research ahead of time before they actually even reach out to the company. So they already know all about you. And by having a feature article, you're demonstrating, and you can show them something about you that they can find beyond the LinkedIn profile, beyond the social media posts that you might be making, and they can get to know you better. Because at the end of the day, people will buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And when they have that feature article, it's going to help them get to the point of knowing and liking and trusting you. So it kind of follows that order, right? They're going to know you better because you have a feature article that goes in depth. This isn't just a resume. This is a full biography of, where you came from originally, how did you land here in Florida today, what got you started in the business, and why are you doing this business? And then once they get to know you, they'll probably get to like you. Like Sam is a good example. He originally came from Chicago. So guess what? If there's other transplants from Chicago, it's like this Simon Sinek. talks about, if I have an iPhone, and if you have an iPhone, we automatically already have a connection. Because we're both iPhone users, right? Or maybe you have a MacBook and I have a MacBook and we're both MacBook users. So we'll automatically have a connection. So if someone were to read Sam's, I don't know, did you happen to mention Sam? We're talking about Sam Hudson here. He's a South Florida personal trainer in FST, which stands for Fascia Stretch Therapy therapist. Did you happen to mention he was originally from Chicago? I'm curious.
Yes, I did.
I'm sorry. I read the article, but I don't remember. I read so much.
That's okay.
Touched on that, but that's my point, right? Is now if somebody else is a transplant from Chicago and here in South Florida, like, oh wow, he's from Chicago, so he gets me because he's from Chicago too, so he's going to understand, what it feels like to be from Chicago but transplanted in Florida, and so they automatically have this connection, and I think that's the part of what a feature does for people. I mean, I was super supportive of Sam doing the feature with you. I thought this was a really good thing and that's why I want Sam to do the podcast. So we did do a podcast with Sam and Reggie. I'm not sure where it's at in the production process, but we've got it and they're working on it. And that's the point of the podcast too. And you probably know this as well from the podcast that you've been part of. People can go out there and look and they can get to know who you are without actually even spending time with you. I mean, I kind of put it this way. I've done sales where I've had traditional salespeople and they give me a slide deck, and the slide deck has like one of the slides in there says, oh, here's all the awards that the company's won, here's all the customers that we have. It's like in today's world those slides don't mean anything. In fact, I would take them out, or I actually kind of got in trouble one time because I took them out. So I would go, well, the company requires me to show these to you so here they are, you got 1 second to look at it, boom boom boom, because I go, this really doesn't matter, and you probably already know about all of this because you've already done your research on our company. It's on our company website, so you already know all of this. Let's get to what you don't know.
Yeah,
that's why we're here in this meeting. Let's make the most of this meeting. And I think in today's digital world and the way things are just moving quickly, the work that you do to help out the small business owners and the business owners and even the large businesses and the people that work for those large businesses helps them out, so that as people are looking at services and companies to do business with, they have an opportunity to get to know them a lot better and more intimately. It's kind of like I saw Senior from Orange County Choppers, because he lived, I don't know if he still does, but he used to live in Delray. So I saw him down at the Green Owl, and I couldn't help it. I had to go by and ask for a photo.
Okay.
But it's like,
of course.
I feel like I know Senior, right? Because I watched the show, Orange County Choppers. So I feel like I know the guy. I don't know him from Adam. I don't know nothing about him. And it's the same idea, right? When you see that celebrity especially from a reality show that's walking down the street, you feel like you know him. So anyway, that's kind of my answer. I don't know how you feel about that answer.
Yeah, that's very good point. I think of it too like a box of Wheaties. Like no one's eating Wheaties because the cereal is just, it tastes so good. They're eating it because they're selling you the story of the athlete on the cover that you're reading about. So that's another way to think about it too. Oh,
I like that. I like that. It's like a Wheaties box. Yeah, because who would eat that Wheaties? Because actually, I don't know how you feel about it. I never did like Wheaties.
Yeah, no, I never liked it, but I always liked.
But you wanted the box.
Yeah.
Because it had that athlete, that star on it that you admired, and a little bit about them.
Yeah, but it was very bland. It was like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday bland. Just nothing about it was good.
I never heard that before. 2 o'clock on a Tuesday.
But I always loved the stories. I always loved reading about it.
Yeah. So tell me about the art shows that you like to cover. I guess do you cover Art Basel down in Miami? Are there others that I may be unaware of that you're covering here locally?
Well, yeah, I done Basel, but there's also I did they had one in West Palm. That was for South Florida Nights years ago, another website. And then there's one called Red Dot Spectrum in Miami that I cover. I covered that for My South Florida Today, SFL Style. So I'm almost like a usual suspect at this point. I'm going to be there and covering it. But there's so many. There's
there's a few actually. Context. You're right. There's a few in West Palm Beach, but they're not at the level of Art Basel.
No, not yet. And I remember years ago, someone had an idea when I was at FAU. he wanted to do like an Art Basel for Boca Raton, and he's like, Nile, I need you to be the one to actually find the artist and write about them. So I was writing about those artists for Boca Watch at the time, but I'm like, I'm only one person, dude, so I can't cover every single person. But I thought it was a very nice idea that he had.
Yeah. My daughter actually got to work at some of the shows there at FAU while she was in school there in the art program.
Oh, really? Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite interesting to meet some of those artists and learning about their process and everything. So,
yeah, I still keep in touch with
your
my
alma
old
mater,
FAU.
so maybe did you still go to those when they have the big art shows there?
Oh yeah, and I still keep in touch with my FAU professors, and they keep me informed on things that are still happening.
Cool. And then the other thing is, I see that you write for or like to go to comic conventions.
Yeah, that was actually my first Sun-Sentinel article.
Your first one.
Yeah, it was
Well, you were
comic
still.
book convention.
Let me see. You were in high school, or
Oh boy, just towards the end of high school, going into college.
towards the end of high school and college, and you wrote about what, Comic-Con or?
Yeah, the one, it was Sunrise Comic Con, or excuse me,
really?
It was called Wizard World, but then Wizard World transitioned into the Miami Comic Con.
The Miami Comic-Con. Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
oh boy, yeah. It's funny. The editor's like, I don't know about this stuff, but you do, so please cover it. And once again, I could have just simply said, yeah, there's a guy dressed as Spider-Man, 4 guys dressed as Ninja Turtles, someone dressed as Catwoman. But I actually asked these people, what do these characters mean to you? Why are you dressed like them? How come we don't have that many comic book conventions in South Florida, but now we have a whole bunch? And just giving them that voice, to make them feel literally heard instead of just seen.
Did you guys hear how? Did you hear how talent there? That's talent right in front of your eyes.
No.
Yes, it is. That ability just to come up with those questions.
Okay. Okay.
To drive to get down to the bottom of the answer of people and what they do. Because you can just say, well, why do you do this? Why are you here?
Yeah, but
or you can have the approach that Nile has, and you can actually get a good answer out of it and make people feel comfortable.
Yeah, just
it's
I really
a talent,
wanted it to be
Nile.
more.
I'm not just
thank
blowing
you.
smoke here.
Yeah, really wanted to just make it more.
It takes skill. It may not seem like it, but it's like, I don't know if you want to call it EQ or what it's an ability to draw the story out, right? Because it's sometimes. I mean, you did say sometimes it's hard to get the people to draw the story out of some folks.
Yeah, it is.
And at the same time, even people that are willing to share sometimes need that, almost like a guide or a coach or a mentor. Or I don't know what you want to call what it is that you do, and turn on the charm and ask the right questions. But it sounds like you really know how to get people to open up to you, so you can get to the real story. Because at the end of the day, that's what people want to read about. They don't want to read about, like you said, oh, I saw 2 Spider-Men over there, and there was a Wonder Woman, and there's Superman, and yeah, I'm at the Miami Comic-Con, and that's pretty much it. Just come on down. Everybody's dressed in a costume.
Yeah.
That's not going to get a lot of interest, is it?
No, and I always tell people I don't like to call them interviews. The word interviews scares people. If you say I'm going to interview you, the person feels like they have to put on this phony act, or they get nervous. So I say it's just a conversation. Let's just talk.
Let's just
so
talk.
That's another thing.
Do you use a recorder?
I'm very old school. I still have the same fat recorder like that I've done all my interviews on.
Really, like fat? And what is it, like a reel-to-reel fat, or
It's
like an 8-track?
well, not an 8-track, but like just an old school recorder.
Old school recorder.
I know I could use my phone, but I'm like, it's like we're a tag team. It's like we've been together for so long. I can't break away from you.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So it's like a micro cassette, maybe?
Yeah, it's like one of those recorders. Yeah, and then
Old
whenever
micro cassette recorder. Wow, that is pretty old school.
Yeah,
I actually found one of those micro cassettes laying around here somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I had. I used to use it in college, for note taking. But wow, that's interesting. Old school. So do you dictate, or do you type your stories?
Oh, I still type just on my laptop. I just do it that way. I don't know. And one person, she's also a journalist, and she was like, "You don't have to do it that way." But I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I like it."
It's you like it. So I'll have to ask you the question that I read in a Stephen Pressfield book. So, how is it that you're able to come up with all these wonderful stories? Like, how do you keep doing it?
Well, luckily, I don't have to keep coming up with them. People come to me with them. Well,
Okay.
eventually, yeah, people will, like literally one time I had my Our South Florida shirt, the website that Sam was featured on, and someone was like, I actually know that website. You're like, yeah, can I tell you my story? And I'm like, yeah, what's your story? And he was an entrepreneur. And I was just like, okay, that's cool. And then they were actually featured on the website too. So he came to me. It wasn't so much I had to find someone or think of something. So that actually kind of helps a lot too. And also when somebody, like when you start doing these things, I feel like people eventually start knowing who you are. So someone reached out to me. They were like, I see you're with Sun-Sentinel. Why they reached out to me, I don't know. But this was a West Palm story. He's like, I made 7 figures in 7 months. And I'm like, oh, wow, that
That
has
is
my
definitely
attention.
newsworthy, and that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm like, even if I weren't a journalist, please tell me more.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I sell sea moss out of my backyard in West Palm and things like that. And I made 7 figures in 7 months. And apparently he lost like 300 pounds selling sea moss out of his backyard and just getting healthier. So I'm like, okay, this is actually a great story.
Really
Let's,
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, Sun Sentinel. And then one day I was watching TV and he showed up on Shark Tank. And I was like, that's the guy I wrote about. That's the guy I wrote about for Sun Sentinel. And I couldn't believe it. He made a deal with Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart on the show. And I sent him a text like, hey, do you remember me? I'm the guy who wrote about you. And he's like, yeah, but you actually helped me get my story out there. And like, he literally said, like, you gave me confidence. So I'm like, if I gave you confidence to actually go on TV, that was like it touched my heart, seriously.
Wow. That's amazing. So, how often do you write?
Oh, I literally write every week. I'm writing a story on a guy who does massages in Fort Lauderdale. He told me a story. He's an immigrant, and he's like, yeah, his dad taught him how to do massages, and he came to Fort Lauderdale. So I'm going to write his story this week. There's an art gallery opening up in Fort Lauderdale, but they focus on old Fort Lauderdale from the 50s to the 60s, and they just talk about the history of Fort Lauderdale Beach. And that's another story that I'm going to work on. That's for the New Pelican newspaper. So pretty much every week there's something happening that I can write about, and it's been that way for years.
That's wonderful, actually, to hear. Do you have any other like writing ambitions, like writing a book or maybe writing a book about South Florida because you have all this connection with South Florida?
Honestly, it's funny you mentioned that. I thought about it, but I really just like these local people stories. I don't see myself writing a book right now, even though I've gotten that. One thing I find interesting is I've helped people write screenplays, and since I've actually spoken to actors and things like that, that might be something I would consider like writing like a short film or something based on maybe a local person or something that's
What
here.
about maybe packaging some of your features you put together, the best features you've written, and packaging that in a book about South Florida and all these different features?
I actually thought about something like that too, and I thought about doing like a guidebook, like out of all the places I've written about, like, hey, here are some places you might want to check out. Like, remember when you would go to a taxi and they would always have that little map of like some of the
Right.
spots you should go to? I thought about doing stuff like that, but realistically, I know how much work goes into a book, so
Oh,
that's
so
why
it's just
too.
a matter of just yeah, the time effort involved. It's quite
Yeah,
large. It's
and
not an easy undertaking.
I always thought like a book. Like I remember being in college, and I had a professor at FAU named Thomas O'Hara. I don't know if I'm allowed to say real names. I'm sorry, but we'll just call him Tom for now. So
It's
Tom would
already out there.
always,
Cat's out of the bag.
yeah, pretty much. But Professor O'Hara, he would always tell the students, "This is bad writing. This is bad writing. It's bad writing." And I actually never understood what that means. Like, what is bad writing? So I always thought, like, what if it was just like a quick book explaining, like, hey, this is good writing, this is bad writing.
So that would be a good book to write.
Hopefully, it's not written
Interesting.
badly. So
Yeah. Did you ever? I'm a movie guy, and I'm guessing with Cinefellas you might be a movie guy too. But maybe my movies don't cross over to you. But there was a movie called A River Runs Through It.
oh, I know that movie. Yes.
Brad Pitt was in it, and I can't think of who the dad was, but anyway, the point was is as a little kid, both boys were writers, and they give the stories to their dad, and he just mark it up in red, and he's like, cut more out of it, cut more out of it, cut more out of it, until he got down to like a very short little bit that I guess is it typical for people that aren't writers like yourself just to put way too many words
Well,
in
the reason
writing? Is that part of the whole process? Is the edit meaning cut to make it more tighter? I guess it's tighter. Is that maybe a term? Tighten
yeah,
it up.
because the real talent is not so much just writing a big block of text, but how you can take that text and make it shorter, make it more engaging, because, less is more. You show, you don't always tell. So those are like little things that I just picked
Oh,
up
I like
along the way.
that. You show, you don't tell. So you
Yeah,
leave a little bit up to the mind for imagination.
right. And that's what makes it fun for the reader and things like that. But yeah, I feel like people do
Oh, it
that
actually
because
makes it fun for the reader
yeah, it does.
because you're leaving a little bit out and leaving them guessing.
Of course.
So it's like a fine line. You got to give them enough to keep them interested, but you can't just give it all to them.
Yeah, I use the hot dog method. Like if everyone tells you how a hot dog is made, you're not going to want it, but they tell you just enough to get you to at least taste it. So little
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah, if you told them everything that went into a hot dog, probably nobody would ever eat one.
Exactly. Yeah. But
We got this all beef frank with ketchup, mustard, and onions on it, and some chili, and it's really good on a hot dog bun. Have
Yeah.
a taste. But if you started going into all the different parts that went into that, and all the ingredients that went into the bread, and the process behind it all, you'd be like falling asleep probably within the first 60 seconds.
yeah, they would actually have a guy named Frank and Nathan in the hot dog, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
reason people have so much text is because when we were in school, what did they say? We want at least 3 pages. You have to have at least this word count. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. You're telling somebody just to write a whole bunch of nonsense. You're putting a hat on a hat when you do stuff like that. So so that's why people do those things, like just that long text, because they feel like they have to say more. And I think it goes back to the days when we were in school, and they're like, yeah, you have to have this amount of pages, this amount of words, and things like that.
I can see that 100%. You definitely had to hit a certain page count, certain word count, and all of that. Else
Yeah,
you get
less is
graded down.
Yeah, less is more. And I had a writing teacher one time, and he was a strict teacher. Like I remember one time he had garbage bins, and he was like, "Oh, this is what garbage bins were made for." And he actually put this was like our work in the garbage, and he's like, "Rewrite it." And we're like, "You didn't even read it." And he's like, "I can tell it's too long. Shorten it. Rewrite it." And then we're like, "Well, can we at least take out our work from the garbage?" And he's like, "No, do it again."
Wow.
I
So
feel like
as a writer, I'm curious, and we definitely need to ask this question. As a writer, how impactful is like the large language models to you? You feel like it's impacting the world of writers, or do you think it's actually making people understand how to actually make a story sound more human versus what a AI large language model would come up with?
I think it's helping people realize the human aspects of stories. Now, I actually use ChatGPT to check my grammar, and then I use Grammarly. But one thing that I've seen with ChatGPT, when people are like, "Just talk about my business," it's like a flat Stanley. There's no structure to who they are. It's just very, very basic. So that's where I feel like I would come in and say, like, once again, like Sam, "Oh, you're from Chicago. Where are you from?" But like if it's just like ChatGPT can just write something about your business or who you are, but it's not going to get into depth. And sometimes people don't even think to ask themselves these questions until someone else has to ask them. So I feel like that's where it kind of comes in. It's just
Yeah.
that human element.
What I really like with ChatGPT, what I'm using now, is I came up with, I think I'm at like 38 or 39 checkpoints. So, is this piece of writing, does it do A through Z? Right? Does it have a good interesting hook? Does it have this? Does it have this? Does it have this? And that's, I think, is super useful because basically I'm not going to approach Nile on having you read my work, but I'm going to come a long way besides me just proofing my own work. And I think it's very helpful in that regard to give you some maybe ideas. I think it's also really good for outlining. I think it's a great tool for outlining. I don't know, do you use an outline when you're writing?
I'm old school. I go by what people tell me, and then I just write story structure, number one, number two, number three, and I just do it that way based off what they
Okay.
told me.
Just based on what they told you. Okay. Yeah. So do you, what about applying, what is it called? Have you heard of, who's that guy? Is it Pink? I can't, no, not Pink. It's called Story Brand. You
Story
heard of
brand?
that?
No, no, I haven't.
So the guy's name is Donald Miller, and he talks about how important story is to your brand as a business, and he likes to focus on like the story arc, right? If you think about how like say a Disney movie was put together, and basically trying to create the hero and all of that into the story. Is that something that you do, maybe even subconsciously, based on all the writing that you've done, or?
Well, now I do the story structure. It's just easier on the eye. But when I first started, I did like a web. Like I would have like a little circle, and then I would write Sam, and then I would just go off in different things like Chicago, health, wellness, and I would just do different things, and then I would just kind of like branch off onto those different ideas. But one day, my friend Jordan saw that, and he was like, "You look like a mad scientist. Just do what I do." And he's like, "Story structure, one, two, three, four." And I do find that actually does help a lot.
Okay, just curious. Yeah. So if someone was wanting to look for a feature writer, what would be some of the things that they would need to kind of maybe consider or look for, and how would you decide which feature writer to work with?
Well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Like, they could always contact me, but if they want to contact someone else like I did, I know times are more modern. You don't have to so much look in the table of contents like I did. But one, I guess, trick you can use it, call it. I told someone, they were like, how do I contact people who are like journalists and do feature writing? Go to the publication that you're interested in, whether it's Sun-Sentinel, Miami New Times, look to see who they're following. They're most likely following other
The
feature
writers.
writers. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you contact them. And you can send them a direct message, or sometimes they have their email, or if they're very open, they'll even have their phone number. But I feel like that's the more modern way to contact feature writers now.
Okay. So would a business just reach out to writers like that, um, or is that more of the job of, say, a PR firm?
It doesn't hurt to shoot your shot. Even if you're just an average Joe, I would say do it, because
Would I need
it's
to
so
have like
easy.
like, how would I sell that to somebody? Would I need to like contact you to get kind of an idea of what they need to hear, like the pitch? I mean, do you need to have a pitch, like, or how does it, I'm just curious how that all works.
Always have a pitch and always make it short and sweet. Once again, another example I have, when people used to go to Blockbuster or buy movies, when you would buy the DVD, they would sell you the movie by you would read the back of the DVD cover, and within 3 sentences, they told you everything you needed to know. So make your pitch like that.
Okay, is that something you would be able to help people with?
I've done it before. Yeah, I actually used to work in PR.
Okay, and then I'm just curious the process. Like, would it be helpful to like engage you to maybe get a couple features out there, and then maybe even do that, and then craft the pitch, and
Yeah.
then they could then pitch and say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm already in these publications, and then you could even maybe help the pitch be so, because they're not going to want to duplicate the story, right, or the feature.
No, that's why every publication they want things to be exclusive. So even if and I have done it before where I've written about someone and for one way, but then you have to write them differently for like another publication in another way. And you also have to keep in mind each publication has their writing style. So the way I wrote for Sun-Sentinel wasn't the way I wrote for Miami New Times. And you also have to be very mindful of who you're reaching out. Just because someone's a writer doesn't mean they're the right writer. So I remember, what was it? Someone reached out to me. They had a business in Delray, and they're like, I want to be in Miami New Times. I told them, Miami New Times doesn't cover Delray. I can get you in the Delray Sun newspaper, which was a spinoff of Sun-Sentinel. But they were like, I just want to be in Miami New Times. So I'm like, once again, your pitch doesn't make sense.
So you got to have the right pitch, and it needs to be short, sweet, to the point, and you got to sell them.
Yes, you do.
Sell them on it. Because I'm guessing these feature writers that work for those folks, they get paid by the paper, not by the person that wants the feature.
Right. And
at the same time, they're always looking for an interesting story.
Right, exactly. And that's how it was. It's not like you're getting paid by the hour. These people are getting paid by how much work they can put out.
What about, like, at one point, I don't know, I came across this thing called Haro?
Haro, what's that?
Haro, or HA, but I think it stood for Help a Writer Out.
Help a Writer Out.
Yeah. And
I don't know that one.
Basically, it was a newsletter I was subscribed to, and it was a website, and I guess writers went to it, and it would constantly send you notifications of, I guess, features that writers were looking to write about. Like, I want to write about somebody that started an ice cream business. I don't know, like, and I want to interview or something, or someone like a business that me personally, I was wanting to interview in St. Louis. There's a business up in St. Louis that designs and manufactures rock climbing shoes. It's actually located in St. Louis. And so they would send an email, say, oh, we're interested in somebody that manufactures rock climbing shoes. And that would be like, they would have a whole list of, here's all the kinds of people that, writers are looking for. I don't know. I mean, this is a long time ago. I'm not on that list anymore, but I'm just curious if there's other services like that you sign up for to see if you can't help them out.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because at first I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. I never heard of this thing. But when he started explaining it, I'm like, it makes sense. There's a website called Muckrack. Have you heard of it?
I haven't heard of that one, no.
Yeah, Muckrack tells you everything you need to know about who a journalist is. They'll tell you who they write for, what they don't cover, what they do cover. Your most recent articles will come up. Your picture will even come up. So it's kind of like a database, like, this is who the writers are, and a lot of people in PR use that website, Muckrack.
Okay, so really what we're covering is basically what somebody would engage a PR agency to do.
Yes.
And they're doing all the groundwork to try to get that feature article out there.
But Muckrack is open to anybody, and even journalists can verify their accounts if they want to. So say, yes, this actually is me.
Except it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not for the light of heart, is it?
No. but if
you're going to hear a lot of no's.
Yeah.
So is there any other kind of content that you create, or is it predominantly the podcasting and then the writing? Is that?
Well, at heart, I'm always a writer. I say I'm a writer and a journalist first, then secondary, maybe podcasting and things like that. But I did social media management for a little bit for some accounts and things like that, even when I worked in PR. But at heart, I'm going to be a journalist. Yeah, that's just how I started.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah, more than anything.
Okay. All right. Do you have a website or Instagram or X that you could share?
Yeah, it's just my name, Nile Fortner. On Instagram, it's Nile_Fortner. Same thing on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook as well. And yeah,
you got
I'm here.
NileFortner.com.
It's a Wix website that I made when I was in FAU, but you can still contact me through there with my phone number and everything.
Cool. And I guess you have links to everything there?
Yes, I do. It goes to my LinkedIn, my Facebook, some of my articles actually, and some of those websites.
Do you write much for LinkedIn or not really?
Yeah, I post on LinkedIn pretty frequently.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. We need to definitely connect then.
Oh, for sure. The last thing I posted, I wish I knew where it is. I got a little award for something that I did for Embrace Magazine, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, really? Cool. What was your award?
uh, it was a Charlie Award, and that's for like feature writing. So I wrote something on for Embrace
That sounds
magazine.
familiar. That's a pretty substantial award, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it's for first prize in like feature writing. So I was like, oh, that's
Oh, that
nice.
was pretty exciting.
Yeah, so I did a little video and I just wanted to share it. Like, hey, this is something I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm leaving town soon. So when I get back, though,
Hmm.
I would love to do, a feature, and then I wouldn't mind doing this in person. I don't know if you're open to that or not.
Yeah, for sure. I just had some like I was editing a video and doing some articles, but I'm totally down one
Yeah,
day.
totally I get it. I mean, I'm like swamped. This is my third meeting, fourth meeting today, my second podcast today, and I've got three or four more this week yet.
Okay,
So
so you're
I'm
you're
I'm
lined up.
I'm well, I'm going to be gone for a little while, but I didn't want to not.
Hmm.
You know how it is. Don't want to
Yeah.
stop the monster wants to eat content, so you've got to feed it. So we have enough in the can already to last until I get back, and then we got several already, not quite on the books, but we got guests agreed to do it. We just have to get the time slot,
Hmm.
you know, designated, and so quite excited about moving forward. It seems that the more people I talk to, it's getting easier and easier to get guests. So we're not having the struggle to get in the beginning. It was really tough to get guests, and now
Hmm.
it's not. I guess I was the same way with you, right? In the beginning, maybe it was hard to get someone wanting the feature, and now you're got a pretty steady flow of folks coming in and curious about having a feature written.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first started, I was writing about my friends because I just needed some bodies to like write about. But when I was like first starting out, people were like, "I don't really know you," things like that. But now it's like it's completely different.
It's completely different now. I'm
Yeah.
finding the same. I mean, it helps having all the episodes as well because those first folks that are willing to do it, they're a little like, I don't know what this guy's all about. And then after you
Hmm.
get a few episodes in, they can go out and look at it and kind of see that, at the end of the day, I just really want to find out more about you
Hmm.
and share that with the overall community out on the internet, and just because I guess one of the I do have a bit of a criteria for guests, and I like to have people on due to the name of the show is Vibe Your Vibe.
Hmm.
I have people on that they're doing their thing, man, and they're just in love with it, and that's kind of the criteria to get on. It's not like it's some super strict thing that I have, but it's just you'll find that as you talk to different people that they just had this passion for what they've done, and
Hmm.
I so one of the guests I have tomorrow is actually he's retired, and so I think that's gonna be interesting because the goal of that is to kind of help people think about retirement, like what I'm hoping to dive into that a little bit. Like you don't just up and quit one day without a plan. This
Yeah.
guy had a plan together.
Hmm.
I think he's busier now than he was when he had a job.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he
Uh huh.
definitely had a plan because I can't remember the person I talked to. I talked to somebody and they had quoted some study where the people that didn't have a plan and they
Hmm.
retired and they basically sat at home with no job to go to, they were literally dead within like 5 years. It was really sad.
Yeah,
Yet the
that's
people
sad.
that had a plan, that started a business or had a hobby or volunteered or didn't matter what they did. It's just they had something to do, something to get up in the morning to go do. It's they lived a much longer and more fulfilling life. So
Definitely. Yeah.
I find this particular gentleman I find quite fascinating because he definitely had a plan. He definitely stayed busy, and I'm just interested to find more about like what was his plan, like how long had he been thinking about this, and these
Hmm.
kinds of things. So that's one of the future guests, and then I guess I got your information. The best way to reach out to you is what way? Because usually somebody has a preferred method. What would you say your
Email.
preferred method is?
Definitely email.
Email. Okay. Did
Mhm.
you did I get your email? You did, but let's one more time get it.
Yeah. So my email is nilefortner@gmail.com.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Okay, great, Nile. Well, I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and we'll definitely be in touch when I get back. So I can't wait to have another conversation with Nile when I get back into town. So thanks, Nile, so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. This was amazing. I love talking about this stuff.
Okay, great. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. And do you need anything else from me? No.
Uh, yeah, if we do, we'll have Julie reach out, and then I'll be reaching out to you when I get back. I've been traveling a lot. I don't know if you know, if Sam let you know, but that's really been the sticking point for me. Has just been a lot of travel back and forth to St. Louis. So
Yeah.
and then I'm
You mentioned
traveling
you were
again.
traveling.
Yeah, so we'll definitely make it happen. So we made this
All right.
happen today, even though we're
Yeah.
both in South Florida. It's crazy that we're doing a remote, but
Yeah.
I'd love to do it in person. I have a place I do like a shared space up at the 1016 in Clare Avenue across from the Kravitz Center.
Okay. I
They're
know
in
where
kind
that
of
is.
that little warehouse district.
Yeah. I know
So I
exactly where that
belong
is.
there, and we can rent the studio like I'm doing Friday, and have a little setup. I can maybe take a portrait of you.
Okay.
I like doing that. That's kind of my thing and my jam too. So actually, it would be really good because it actually be super good because that way. I'm curious. Did Sam do a treatment on you?
No, he hasn't. No.
Oh, he was supposed to do that.
Yeah, but I don't know if just
This
the
didn't
timing. Like,
happen. Just
yeah.
yeah, because
But
it's
we
so
did
much
talk about
better
it.
to write about it if you actually
Experience
experience
it.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Same thing. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. And I've got a few people I think I'm going to refer to you too. So we first have to do it first. I don't want to refer to, I'd like you to do it, and then that way they can see the result of it. Right. And then after that, then I have a few people I think that definitely need to have a feature done. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely get you connected so we can get those features written. One is a managed service provider, so they do like IT telephony, and then the other is my functional medical doctor. She's in Boca.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think
Nice.
both of those folks. I mean, it's not my money; it's theirs. So, but I'm gonna make the introduction and make a hard sell. It's like you need to do this. It's just an important thing, and it's not crazy money. You
No.
know,
No.
it's really easy, and it'll be good for them. And as we talked about, it gives another backlink, gives people an opportunity when they go out and search on them, they can find out more about them. And as I said before, people like to buy from people they like, know, and trust. And
True.
I mean, it's just that simple. And I wish you all the best, and I'll be in touch probably in like about a month.
All right. Perfect. Then
All right.
safe travels.
Thanks now. Appreciate it. Bye bye.
Bye bye.